Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing a review on the Origin Boxing 01 boxing gloves. So check it out. Hey guys, Carlo here. Today I'm doing a review on the Origin Boxing 01 boxing gloves. I got mine in the black and gold colorway, 14 ounces as a lace-up closure only model. You can get these anywhere between 10 and 16 ounces. As well as one additional colorway, which is going to be black and silver. The glove is made of full genuine leather construction with layered foam padding over the knuckle area that has a medium density to it. And the gloves are manufactured in Pakistan. Now, Origin Boxing is a relatively new company based out of Seoul, South Korea. And like a lot of other South Korean brands, I really wanted to try these out to see how they would compare and perform to other gloves on the market. Most notably gloves from South Korea like Heavy Hitters, which is a really popular brand, both in Korea as well as here in the West, here in the United States. So wanted to see how these would perform, and I definitely was really impressed by these. Now, from a design standpoint, when you look at the glove, it does have kind of a simplistic look to it, really clean, which I like. For a 14-ounce glove, profile-wise, I'd say that these are right on point, right in the middle, medium size. They're not overly huge or overly compact for a 14-ounce glove. So in terms of sizing, true to size sizing, I'd say that these are true to size for a 14-ounce glove. And the gloves are manufactured in Pakistan, so the leather on here is pretty standard for your Pakistan leather. It has kind of a satin finish to it. I'd say that this is kind of comparable in terms of quality to something from like Top Boxer. So if you're familiar with Top Boxer, their Win Ones or their Alien gloves, I would say that this is very similar to the type of leather that Top Boxer uses in their gloves. So you have that satin finish to the leather. Coming down to the wrist support, there's a big emphasis on wrist support on this glove. You can see that it has kind of a hybrid triple bar system, with the top and lower bar being thicker, and it's a very dense foam. It does say Origin Boxing across horizontally on these two larger bars, and then a smaller bar that is a little bit softer in terms of density in the middle right there. What I do like about this is that when you lace up these gloves, it lays right here in this track right here. It lays nicely. Sometimes you can have gloves that doesn't have a deep enough groove at the bottom of the wrist support, so the laces will sometimes drop down. And the fact that you have this little void right here, this little channel for the laces to sit in, I definitely like that. That thickness of that padding is really thick. I'd say about maybe 1.25 inches of thickness on this really dense foam on the back of the wrist. You also have a polyester nylon satin liner on the inside, nothing too crazy there. Black piping. It does say Origin Boxing right here. That's printed vertically on the inside of the wrist support. I'd say you have about 1/4 inch of firm padding on the inside as well. Nice and firm, comes up to right about here, as well as on that side. It does say 14 ounces. You have black and white, almost like a black and dotted white round laces with plastic tips at the end. I wish the laces were longer. I feel like the laces on these gloves are definitely too short. I typically like to get 2 revolutions around my wrist to really lock my wrist in with the laces, and with these I just couldn't do it. They were just way too short. So you can see if you go across, you could basically just go over the back one time, and that's really it. If you try to go around one more time, you just can't do it. So the laces definitely need to be a lot longer, and again, you can see just how short they are. It's gold on the entire palm side, including the thumb, as well as the piping, double stitching throughout. Ventilated holes on the inside part of the thumb, and you have a pretty large grip bar that has a medium density to it. It's not super stiff, with a leather attached thumb at the very tip of the thumb right there. Quality wise, these gloves are sharp. There's no anything that really stands out, with the leather as well as the stitching. You can see typically the stitching areas that you look for is kind of in this area between the thumb and the index finger. Any areas where it's a little bit harder for the stitch pattern to be really clean. Anybody can really stitch. They're really, straight lines on the back where it's really flat, as well as on the palm side. That should be pretty much automatic for any leather artisan to do in terms of stitching. It's the areas like the outside edges, as well as the areas where you have kind of just weird creases and curves, is where you can really tell just how sharp they are with the stitching. And these gloves, they do a very nice job. And you know, like with a lot of Pakistan made equipment, they're by far the largest in the world in terms of manufacturing leather goods, whether it's like soccer balls and obviously boxing equipment, boxing gloves. They're definitely the largest in terms. So in my opinion, when it comes to quality, you know, they've done it so many times that they've perfected the art and the craft of making these gloves. So I think there's oftentimes this misconception that it's made in Pakistan, so it's not going to be as good as gloves made in Mexico or in the UK. And I just don't think that's correct, because I feel that just because you get more gloves from that region, people think that it's watered down, and I don't agree with that. I feel like it's sometimes the opposite. You know, these companies do it so frequently that they've kind of perfected it. So in a way, yes, there are some gloves you might get, and hopefully I'm not getting too far off the beaten path with this, but you know, you might get some low quality gear, which is definitely something you see in some Pakistan gloves, and even gloves made in China, but you also get some really high end, nice quality stuff as well. So to me, this is going to be definitely on that spectrum. But you can see the stitching on the palm side looks really good. Weight wise, these gloves are just slightly overweight. They're advertised as a 14-ounce glove. They came both in at 14.4 ounces. So in terms of being symmetrical in weight with each other, they're both 14.4 ounces, which is perfect. Slightly overweight for a training glove, I'm not really concerned with that. You know, if it were like 16.4 or 17 ounces where there's completely overweight, then yeah, I would consider that to be a QC issue, a quality control problem. For me, when it comes to weight with training gloves, I'm not a huge, I'm not a huge critic in that regard, because when I use it, if I'm getting a heavier glove than it's advertised, I just say it's more for my own conditioning when I train. So I take it with a kind of a glass half full mentality, if you want to call it. But the stitching right there looks really good. You can see the glove is really well balanced, and again, that's because of the padding is very rigid and denser on the palm side, so it doesn't allow the front of the glove to sag. So overall, really nice quality of the glove. I also like the gold on here. It has a little bit more of a kind of like a pearl subdued look. It's not a metallic gold, so it's not super flashy for those of you that like that little bit more of a simplistic look and don't really like flashy gloves. So I definitely like that. Comfort wise, slide your hand into the glove. The first thing you notice with this glove is how deep the hand compartment is, and it really puts your hand in a natural fist position, which, you know, I've preached in other videos. To me, that's really the first thing when it comes to hand protection, is how your hand is positioned, because you can have all kinds of different types of foams and all this technology, wrist support technology, but if the glove just doesn't put your hand in the proper position to make a really nice fist, then that kind of all goes out the window. So with this glove, that's definitely the first thing I've noticed is just your knuckles are really just in that perfect position to land. It has a very deep, thin compartment, which I like, and you can feel that grip bar just sink right into your hand. So in terms of positioning and ergonomics, I think they did an excellent job of just forming this hand compartment to really give you good positioning with your hand. The thumb also nice and parallel. Deep enough too, I don't feel like my thumb jams at the very tip right there. I don't feel like the seam is too tight around the fat part of my thumb. And you can see too, it has a nice large opening. I've been a critic of some of the Everlast MX gloves, or even the Elite Fight gloves, where the stitching right here is just so tight for no reason, honestly. I mean, they just did it that way, and I just feel like if they just opened it up a little bit more, it'd just be so much more comfortable. And with this glove, you definitely have that. Hand compartment is wide enough, but not too narrow, so you get a good amount of room even with your hand wraps on. And you also have, I wouldn't say necessarily a secondary grip bar, but you can tell they kind of rolled the fabric on the inside where the fingertip is. It would have been nice if they put a piece of neoprene or felt just to kind of give it a little bit more of a luxurious feel right here, but it's not bad. But definitely very comfortable, and it has a semi-broken in feel. They're not ultra stiff, they're not super soft and broken in like a horsehair glove where you can just open your palm right away. It's gonna take a little bit of time to break in, but these definitely will break in nicely the more you use them. Wrist support feels good as well. And yeah, everything about the glove is very comfortable, so extremely comfortable glove, and definitely like the way it puts my hand into that natural fist position. Protection and performance, this glove is balanced. So this is one of those gloves that you really can use for everything in the gym. And you're starting to see a lot more gloves that are like that. You're not really seeing the strictly only for bag work and strictly only for sparring. While they do still have those gloves, they also have gloves like these where you can use this really for everything. If you want to use it for sparring, the padding is forgiving enough for yourself and your sparring partner, but also protective, but good enough for also bag work. So if you want to hit the heavy bag, it compresses nicely and you get great feedback over the punch surface. So this it's pretty much right in the middle. You know, you get a good amount of shock absorption. You land on those two front knuckles, that punch surface flattens out nicely the minute you make contact with whatever surface you're punching. So again, I'd say right there in the middle, get a good amount of feedback in terms of there's like a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being extremely shock absorption protective, 1 being like the ultimate horsehair, like Everlast MX glove where your knuckles just go right through the padding. I'd say that this is a 5, so kind of right there in the middle. Cost-wise, these gloves are 159,750 Korean won, which converts, before you guys jump at me, which converts to about, currently at least, it might change tomorrow, about 122 US dollars. Now, obviously you would have to pay for shipping, but for the sake of this video and for what the current price is, it's $122 for these gloves, which I think is a fair price. I mean, if you consider everything that's out there, this is a full genuine leather glove. The quality is on point, the comfort is on point, the hand ergonomics are on point, the padding is balanced. This is a great glove for that price point. The only thing I would say is they should offer other colorways. And the design on the back, and something I didn't mention earlier, it looks okay. I feel like this could be done better. I feel like it's clean, but it kind of just gives it a little bit of a generic look. You know, I feel like if they maybe had like some writing in smaller letters on the top bar, left the bottom bar by itself, and then maybe put like a nice clean logo on the back of the glove, I think that would look sharper in my opinion, and just leave everything else the same. But I think that logo kind of throws me off just a little bit, not a huge amount, but a little bit. But you know, for the price point, I definitely think it's fairly priced. Overall, a great bang for the buck glove. If I were to compare it to anything on the market that I can compare it to, I would say that this is kind of like a blend between like the Top Boxer Aliens and probably like the rival Guerrero RFX Guerrero gloves. Like if those two gloves came together and had a baby, this would be that glove in my opinion. So that's what I would compare it to. So if you guys have those other gloves, you guys can kind of have a reference point. But overall, I'm very satisfied with these gloves. So if you guys have any questions or comments, you guys know what to do. Put them down below. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find these Origin 01 boxing gloves. See you guys later. Peace.